Hello, mappers and grappers. As always, I am your host, Lyric Swinton, and I'm so excited to be back. I will say this is probably going to be a shorter episode than most. If you don't notice, my voice does not is not at 100%. I was at the Beyonce concert this weekend in Washington D.C., the famous show where it starts pouring down raining, and I don't know. I still feel like I'm half dead. It was 100% worth it, by the way. Shout out to the Queen, Beyonce. But yeah, I still feel like crap, and so my voice isn't at 100%, but I have a lot to say. And I know that a few people are waiting to hear on a certain rant that will come at the end of the episode, as promised. But there's been a lot of exciting stuff happening this week, and something that, of course, that I've especially wanted to talk about is the N1 Victory Tournament. For all my Noah fans and all people who might not be Noah fans but want to be Noah fans, you've come to the right place. It's been an interesting ride, I would say. We just kicked off with night one over the past weekend. And listen, I said this on Twitter. The N1 Victory Tournament ranges from some of the absolute best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life to some of the wrestlers that make me think like, how did you get here? So I will say I'm not going to go too in depth on everybody that's in the tournament, but I do want to go over some key matches and people to watch during this tournament. And so let's get started with in this lineup. So there's two blocks, Block A and Block B. There are a few people to watch. So in Block A, obviously watch the champion, Jake Lee, the current GHC heavyweight champion. He came over from All Japan earlier this year at the new Noah New Year's show and joined the company. And then I believe in March, defeated Kaito Kiyomiya for the GHC heavyweight championship. And he's honestly defeated a lot, most of the top guys in Noah. So he's defeated Segura, he's defeated obviously Kaito Kiyomiya, he's defeated Namichi Marufuji, he has defeated Katsuhiko Nakajima. So he's had a very interesting run. I will say, I'm not, like I've said before, I'm not 100% sold on his run yet, but like I said, they put him up against the top guys of Noah. The only two top guys he has not faced yet are Kano and Go Shiozaki. So that's interesting. But moving on, another person to watch in Block A is Kano. He is the fan favorite, one of the fan favorites to win the tournament, and just one of the fan favorites, period. He's been the MVP of Noah. I've talked about him and sung his praises on this show before. He continues to make you get invested in just about anything. Um, he is hilarious. His YouTube channel. He's also super serious. Earlier, a few weeks ago, for his 15th anniversary show, he recently dissolved his faction, which was Congo. And so he switched from wearing red all the time to now wearing blue. So I call him Blue Kino now, and it's still a lot for me to get used to. But yes, Kino is one of the major people to watch during this tournament. Jack Morris is also a person to watch during this tournament. He's the Scottishman. He is also a member of Good Looking Guys, which is a faction that Jake Lee is also in. So it's going to be a very interesting match when those two eventually square off, with being in the same faction. But obviously, Jack Morris wants a taste of gold, and his faction mate, Jake Lee, has it. Those are the most interesting people, I would say, from the A block. And then moving on to B block, we have Go Shiozaki, is the oldest person in this tournament, but he is Mr. I am Noah. That's what he says all the time. I am Noah. He has a very interesting history. I wouldn't do it justice by like trying to say it all, but he was very close with Mitsuharu Musawa. And he was also very close with a lot of, I would say, like the pillars of the pillars of Japanese wrestling, the pillars of heaven specifically. And so I think that he's been in a situation like throughout his career of being pushed as the guy, even though people haven't like always accepted him as the guy. But in recent years, he's been accepted as the guy, and he's really going through really like all the trials of being of having to go through everybody, beat everybody, while he had a very, very good GHC heavyweight championship run during the pandemic and essentially carried the company. He's also one half of my favorite Noah tag team and one of my favorite tag teams ever, which is Axis. I talk about them all the time. And these two, Go Shiozaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima, are both in the same. They're both in the same block this year, and so this is super exciting, but also nerve wracking. They actually face each other on the last night of the block matches, which is coincidentally the same day as AEW All In. So I probably won't be able to catch that one live, but I will catch it. So yeah, Go Shiozaki is definitely one to watch in this tournament. He returned from injury earlier this year, reformed Axis, but he's also made it clear that he still has gold in his sights. As much as he loves Axis, he still has sights on being Mr. I Am Noah and reclaiming the championship. And he's willing to go through anybody to get it. And he's recently debuted a new look, dyed his hair black, and come out with this new cool white jacket. I love it, and these new tights, I absolutely love it. And yeah, that's Go Shiozaki. Next is Katsuhiko Nakajima. He is the cunning man who has a smile that is absolutely terrifying, but he's so good at what he does, and I think he's been one of my favorite wrestlers of this year. I sung the praises of his match versus Kento Miyahara earlier this year. Actually, why did I say earlier this year? It was only a few weeks ago, but it was at the Noah One Night Only show. In my personal opinion, if you ask me for my money, that is the third best singles match of the year, right behind the both Omega Osprey matches. So I absolutely adored that match. And Nakajima's just had a very great year. Some really great singles matches, and he continues to impress. Like I said, he's also a part of Axis. And I think the really interesting dynamic is that Nakajima typically, I feel like he rejoined Go Shiozaki because he felt like Shiozaki, coming off of his injury, needed him, because he did lose his first match versus Nakajima in Congo. But at the same time, you've seen Go Shiozaki has continued to get stronger and stronger over the last couple of weeks. He's been holding his own, and I think that he looks great in ring. There was definitely some ring rust in those first couple of weeks, but he looks awesome now, and so he's getting back in that full form. So it's interesting to see how Katsuhiko Nakajima will react to Go Shiozaki being a person that just wants him around rather than needs him around. But also, like I said, Nakajima is a very formidable wrestler in his own right. He's a former 3-time winner of the N1 Victory Tournament, and he's a former GHC heavyweight champion. Also to note, Go Shiozaki has not won the N1 Victory Tournament. So he's basically he's done almost every single thing that there is to do in pro wrestling Noah, but he has not won that N1 Victory Tournament. And so that is something that he's looking for. Next is El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. He is currently the GHC National Champion. He is the only foreigner to ever hold that championship. And so I'm going to be honest, I've never seen a bad Wagner Jr. match. He has been so solid this year. Loved everything that he's done. Do I expect him to win this tournament? No, but I do expect him to have a very, very, very solid showing. And I'm almost positive that from this tournament, we'll see who's his next major challenger is going to be. So that's going to be cool. And the last person that I think is worth watching, second to last. The last person is, I don't really think that they're going to win, but they're definitely worth watching. But the second to last is Manabu Soya. So he was essentially Keno's right-hand man. Earlier this year, they were the co-holders of the All Japan Triple Crown Tag Team Championships. He was a member of Congo. And so essentially when Keno dissolved the faction, Soya has really kind of gone his own way. Like, he's no longer has the red hair. He's been trying to find his own path as well, post Congo. And he's been killing it. Like, he has absolutely been blazing a trail of his own. He's been looking like a monster. Earlier this year, why do I keep saying earlier this year? Earlier this last week, right before the N1 Victory Tournament started off, there was an N1 Rumble. So all of the participants in the tournament had a Battle Royal match. And it was actually really good. And it was a really good precursor for the tournament. So, for example, you had Go Shiozaki eliminate both Keno and Katsuhiko Nakajima. But then you had Manabu Soya win it all, which I think is absolutely fascinating. Like, he was not a person that I had originally tapped to win it all in this tournament, but it's very clear that he is not playing. He is out for business, and he's been doing a great job, as we're going to get into with these matches. And so, as for the results of what happened on night one, I'll just go ahead and run through it really quickly. Manabu Soya defeats Katsuhiko Nakajima. Jack Morris defeats Yoshihiki Inamura. Lance Noai defeats Yuma Enzai. Oh, that was who also I meant. Yuma Enzai is also very important one to watch during this tournament. He's actually from All Japan Pro Wrestling, and he is the future ace of them. I don't think he's going to go far, but this is some great experience for him. You can definitely see that he has a lot of talent. He's only 24 years old, but you can tell that he's going to be a star one day, so that's super exciting. Next, you had Yuki Yoshioka defeated Masa Kitamiya. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated Daiki Inaba. Adam Brooks defeated Keno. Go Shiozaki defeats Saxon Huxley. And Jake Lee defeats Timothy Thatcher. So, look. Also, Yuki Yoshioka is from Dragon Gate Wrestling. So, there's 2 visitors during this tournament. So, the 3 matches that are the most interesting, I would say, out of night 1 so far are, number 1, the match that kicked it all off, Katsuhiko Nakajima versus Manabu Soya. This match was absolutely excellent. This set the tone for the tournament. It was absolutely excellent. These two have a lot of history because obviously they were in Congo together. Katsuhiko Nakajima, leaves Congo to rejoin Go Shiozaki, and then Congo really falls apart soon after. And so he was really the catalyst for Congo falling apart as a faction. So there's a lot of bad blood here. And also, one, this match was extremely hard-hitting. Manabu Soya looked like a star, and 3, he won. Which I was not expecting. Like I said, Katsuhiko Nakajima has won the N1 3 times. He's a former GHC national heavyweight champion. I didn't think he was going to win this year, but I sure didn't think he was going to drop his first match. And speaking of dropping their first match, oh my God. Also, if you don't watch any other match from that night, watch Soya versus Nakajima. One of my personal favorite Noah matches of the year. Anyway, but speaking of dropping their first match of the tournament, Kano lost to Adam Brooks. I was too stunned to speak. I'm still too stunned to speak. I still can't believe this. Like I said, Kano's one of the favorites to win the tournament. Fan favorites, period. Like, he's been the MVP of Noah this year. I just knew. At least he had that first match in the bag. But no, like, this is absolutely insane. I did not expect him to lose this match. So he's going to be one of the interesting stories to follow. And I would say the third most interesting one is obviously Go Shiozaki versus Saxon Huxley. It wasn't a particularly great match, but like I said, Go Shiozaki looked really good. And he won. And he won, like I said, out of all of these favorites to, like, the people who like anticipated to go far, he's the one who actually, like, stepped up. Obviously, Jake Lee's the heavyweight champion. He won. Obviously, Wagner Jr. won, but those two are champions. That was to be expected. But out of the actual favorites to win this tournament, and keep in mind, no heavyweight champion has ever won the N1. So it's very interesting just to see this progression and like how they got started off during this tournament. So the current A block standings as of the end of night one, we have Jake Lee, um, Jack Morris, and Adam Brooks, as well as who else? And Yuki Yoshioka, Lance Anoa'i, Manabu Soya, Go Shiozaki. Those people all have 2 points. Everybody else is currently a zero, no draws. So that's where we are currently with the N1 Victory Tournament. As of night one, I think that night two has already happened, but that's what this is being recorded before I actually have a chance to watch those. So you get what you get. But if you want to keep up with the N1 Victory Tournament, aside from, listening to this podcast and watching my live tweeting, make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Universe. It is a very, very good deal. I think it's like $6 to $7 a month, and you get DDT, Noah, TJPW, as well as Ganber Pro. So it's definitely a good deal. I highly recommend. And that's where we are on N1 Victory. Moving on to Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. A lot of interesting matches have recently occurred. One of my personal favorites is Micah versus Saori Anu. I would like to say that if you want a full analysis, make sure that you watch Women's Wrestling Talks Rising Sun Rundown on Thursdays at 5 p.m. That is where I will be seated every Thursday at 5 p.m. talking everything 5-Star Grand Prix and doing a full breakdown of all of the matches, particularly this week. Hopefully my voice feels better by then. But yeah, so currently, as of August 6th, we have Tam Nakano at 4 points, Mayu Iwatani at 2, Hazuki at 0. Obviously, Saya Kamatani had to withdraw due to injury. Natsupoi is at 4, Suri's at 2, Ami Sori is at 0, Natsuko Tora is at 6, Starlight Kid is at 0, Suzu Suzuki is at 2, Hanana's at 0. Utami Hayashishita is at 2. Azumi is at 2. Julia's at 3. Micah's at 3. Mariah is at 4. Mina Shirakawa is at 4. Mariah May is at 2. Momo Watanabe is at 2. And Saori Anu is at 4. So currently the leading Red Stars as of August 6th is Natsuko Tora with 4. And leading Blue Stars is a 3-way tie between Mariah, Mina Shirakawa, and Saori Anu. So that's currently the 5-Star Grand Prix. Like I said, we're going to get thoroughly into some matches Thursdays at 5 on the Women's Wrestling Talk YouTube and Twitch accounts. Is all going down there. But let's get down to what you all wanted to hear. G1. I don't know. Like, I had such high hopes. I think especially coming off of Best of the Super Juniors, because let me tell you something. I'm not a grifter. I'm not just a hater to be a hater. I'm like, my thing is, if you present anything to me properly, I will accept it, or at least try to accept it, or try to see where you're coming from. That's how I feel about Best of Super Junior. In Best of the Super Juniors, none of my original picks went through. None of them. Like, who did I pick? I think like Robbie Eagles, Leo Rush. None of those people went through. However, the tournament quality, the matches were so good. Everything was just set up so good to the point that even though my faves didn't go through, I was still excited for every match. The final was Teton versus Master Wato. And I didn't complain one bit, because you want to know why? Because these guys delivered throughout the tournament. Now, I wasn't 100% sold on Wato Mania, but like I said, they did what needed to be done. So I'm very confused what's happening here. And even also with Master Wato winning Best of the Super Juniors, it felt like, and even like with Sonata winning, New Japan Cup, I just knew that we were going into a different direction. The naming of the real Reiwa Three Musketeers. I just knew we were just heading into a new direction, putting some new faces up. But that's not where we are. In some ways, yes, but the actual faces they put forth, I don't understand. So starting with A Block, who advanced? Sonata and Hikuleo advanced. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Hikuleo, I'm not even a Hikuleo hater. I think he's improved tremendously this year, and I think he's done a really great job. But compared to the other people in that tournament, Kaito Kiyomiya, robbed. Shota Umino, robbed. Yota Tsuji, robbed. Gabe Kidd, robbed. Robbed. Why? So, and also, Sonata, why do you have 14 points? He didn't need to win every single match. Come on. Like, I just Kaito Kiyomiya wrestled circles around almost everybody he got in the ring with. He outclassed almost everybody, including Sonata. And I like Sonata. I have a picture of Sonata. I love Sonata. I think Sonata's great. But let's just be for real. Put it on the flow. This is not right. This is not right. Yota Tsuji put out a twin. Oh my gosh. Gabe Kidd has literally built a name for himself in this tournament. He's unforgettable, undeniable. And if you weren't going to pick any of them, pick Shota Umino. He's had some great matches. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Moving on to B Block. B Block is the only block where the people that I thought I expected to go through went through in that order, which is Okada and Will Ospreay. Good for them. Good for them. I don't really have too many qualms about B Block. I would like to say that match, that final match, that winning or end match between Will Ospreay and El Phantasmo was excellent. 10 out of 10. I have 0 notes. They ate that. And also, El Phantasmo has had an excellent tournament. He's had some of the most memorable matches of this tournament. And it wasn't all about winning for him. And obviously, he's mended a lot of fences and, fixed a lot of bridges, including, reuniting with some of his old Bullet Club comrades and now it seems like he's going to be a member of Guerrilla of Destiny now. So I'm excited. Shout out to El Phantasmo as well as Will Ospreay for putting on an incredible match to end the tournament out. That was excellent. I'm going to go straight to D Block and then I'm going to come back to C Block. I'm going to try to conserve my energy. Moving on to D Block. So D Block has also finished exactly how I thought it was going to finish with Tetsuya Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. I didn't know how it was going to get there, but I'm glad that, it had me scared in the first half. I'm not going to lie. I thought that Zack Sabre Jr. wasn't going to go through, which was my main priority, but he did. And he's now one of the people I'm hitching my hat on. Like, I'm hitching my hat on either him or Will Ospreay winning. I think it should be one of them because I don't know what's going on some of these other blocks. Everybody else, Sonata should not win. Hikuleo should not win. Okada has won too many times. There's no reason for him to realistically win. Naito, I'm going to be honest, Naito, he's been there, done that. I want to see some fresh faces, and Zack Sabre Jr. has had an excellent year. He's put in the work. He's been awesome with that New Japan World TV Championship, with the new look, with TMDK. He's been killing it this year. And I'm ready to see him finally be treated like the top guy that he is, because he really is a top guy. But the match that stole the show on the last night of the D Block finals is 100% when the old guard of New Japan showed everybody how it's done. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Tetsuya Naito. Absolutely excellent match. Excellent match. I knew they were going to bring it from like the foreshadowing that they were doing and like the preview tags and also like backstage comments. I know Tana said that Not So Nice Tanahashi might make an appearance, but wow, they did that. They ate that. If that was what I was waiting for. That's them showing they're still cooking. Naito's had 2 great matches in this tournament. That Tanahashi match and his match versus Zack Sabre Jr. And those 2 opponents brought the best out of him. So since he's advancing, I hope that he continues to stay on this route. But I'm very proud of Hiroshi Tanahashi. He went out swinging, and he was jumping off of stuff like it was 2012. Like I'm talking about just jumping off of things. He jumped that ace is high to the outside. He pops right back up, gets in the ring, gets on the turnbuckle, does it again, then gets back on the turnbuckle, does it again, no hesitation, no nothing. I will say on that third time, Naito did get his knees up, but absolutely brilliant. And also the way that Naito spiked him right on the top of his head right before he pinned him. Oh my gosh. Absolutely excellent match. I'm probably going to have to go back and rewatch that one, but it was great stuff, man. But now I got to talk about the depressing stuff. And so moving on to C Block, I'm really upset about this because C Block was my favorite block out of them all. If you listen to the show regularly, you know I love my wrestling and as hard hitting and violent as possible. Big meaty men slapping me. C Block was all of those things. C Blocks was Murderer's Row. It was like, you know, the real killers, the real hard hitters. That was it. And the fact that the representatives of C Block are nothing like that are really, really disappointing to me. I would like to say justice for Tomohiro Ishii, justice for Shingo Takagi, justice for Hanare, justice for Mikey Nichols, justice for Eddie Kingston, hell, even justice for Tama Tonga. I can't believe this. Like, I just can't believe this. I know I said I was going to rant, but I don't even think I have the energy to curse. And also, like, my throat is starting to hurt. But why evil? Why? I would like to know that. Why? And I understand people are like, well, he's super over. House of Torture is super over in Japan. And the crowd just gives them a reaction every time and they boo. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. That's terrible. And then the way that they had him beat Shingo Takagi, and then they kept getting my hopes up. You had eventually you had House of Torture beating on Shingo. Then you have Yota Tsuji and Bushi come out to try to make the save, and then they getting beat on too. And then out of nowhere, Hiromu Takahashi comes out of nowhere, and I'm just like, yes, you are a saint. We are saved. And then boom, Evo hits a low blow, and we're done. Nasty business. See, I ain't got no problem with David Finlay. Because honestly, if David Finlay didn't win, then we have a problem. Because that man has been consistently built, him and Bullet Club, since Battle in the Valley in February. So honestly, if he didn't win, then we have a problem. David Finlay makes sense to move it along. You know, of course, in a perfect world, I would have had Eddie and Shingo, you know, both advance. But that's just not how the cookie crumbles. And I get that. I'm not mad about David Finlay. But Evil, I'm pissed as hell. This is not right. This is not right. And trust, Gato, you will be dealt with. Because listen, I have been singing your praises all year long. All year long. Booker of the year. Promotion of the year. I have not said one bad word about New Japan all year because New Japan's been that good this year. Because every single tournament, New Japan Cup slapped. Best of the Super Juniors slapped. Every single pay-per-view show slapped. Battle in the Valley, Resurgence, Dominion, Sakura Genesis, Wrestling Dentaku, Wrestle Kingdom 1, Wrestle Kingdom 2. They've all been great. I've been singing their praises. Forbidden Door. But this is not real. This is not real. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. Because I don't know. I understand that there's supposed, like, you know, history there with Sonata and Evil. Obviously, Evil turns on Sonata and to go join Bullet Club around 2 years ago. I get it. I understand. But no. I don't care if you ever finish your story, Evil. Kaito Kiyomiya didn't get to finish his story. That's the story that we all came to see. We came to see the story. I've been waiting to see him finally get his lick back on Okada for a minute now. So I don't care if you finish your story, Evil. I don't care. And also, I have not seen one person saying, oh man, I just hope that they really revisit this Sonata Evil story. I hope they finish the story. I've never heard anyone say that. Never seen it. I never felt that, never experienced that emotion. But you know what I have heard people say? Oh, well, we need Kaito Kiyomiya versus Okada rematch. We need to see Yota Tsuji versus Tetsuya Naito. Stuff like that. That would be awesome. I think that would have been awesome. Imagine Gabe Kidd versus Zack Sabre Jr. I think that would have been awesome. But no, we can't have that because of Evil and House of Torture, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Now, I'm trying not to be super bad of a grifter. I'm trying to give y'all a chance. Obviously, we're going to get to these quarterfinals. And so for the quarterfinals, we got Hikuleo versus Tetsuya Naito. Will Ospreay versus David Finlay. That should actually be a really good match. Evil versus Sonata, Lord help us. And we have Kazuchika Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr., which is going to be a good match. But come on now. When we get to these semis, things better start making sense. Because right now, I'm not excited. I'm not happy. This is supposed to be the year that all the baddies come start watching Japanese wrestling. They were getting on the train. But now we got all the people who are, quite frankly, scaring the hoes. This is not right. It's not right. It's just not right. I can't spin this. I can't spin this to non-fans or new fans and be like, oh, yeah, you got to see this. This is something you can really sink your teeth into. I can't do that. I can't do that. So, yeah, that's the rant. Like I said, I'm keeping this short and sweet because my throat's starting to hurt. I already done yelled too much, and I haven't even scratched the surface of how hard I can go. Let's hope by next week, some of these problems are rectified, so I don't have to do this again, because I would hate to have to do this again. I really would hate to have to do this again. New Japan, I love you. And so I don't want to have to go through this again. So by the time this rolls back around next week, I hope that Evil is out of the quarterfinals and House of Torture can get their hands off of this product. Yeah. So until next time, make sure you all check into the weekly show, the Rise of Sun Rundown on Women's Wrestling Talk, Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lyric Wrestling. Of course, I'll be live tweeting whatever I watch, but especially from the G1 Climax tournament, the N1 Victory tournament, as well as the 5-Star Grand Prix tournament. In addition, stay on the lookout. Thank you for everybody who's been supporting my recent interviews. I recently interviewed Michael Oku, the undisputed British heavyweight champion over at RevPro, as well as RevPro's founder, Andy Quilden. Interviewed them. Obviously, there's a historic 11th anniversary show coming up at the Kyberbox Arena in London during All In Weekend for RevPro. I wanted to talk to them ahead of that. I will be doing live coverage in some capacity from the RevPro show, as well as AEW All In. So lots of fun things. I'll also be at All-Star Juniors Fest. So lots of fun things content-wise probably coming this month, and I'm super excited about, and you all will be the first to know. But yes, until next time, I shall see you later, mappers and grappers. Goodbye.